our group will be presenting the consumer behavior based on the survey. First of all, what is consumers? Consumers is a person, groups of people, or company that intends to purchase, order, use products, goods, or services. Mostly, the consumers purchase goods or services for personal use, household, and every needs. They don't sell the items that already bought from others and use it in their daily life. To purchase the goods or services, consumer behavior is involved. It can be defined as the act of an individual, which means they are directly involved in obtaining, using, and disposing of economic goods and services. Consumer behavior can also be called buyer behavior. This is because people that are involved in buying and using products needs to go through the process and act of decision making. In my opinion, human behavior in making decisions when purchasing products or services, they are occupied in problem-solving talks, satisfying and perceived need. Consumer demand is defined as the willingness and ability of consumers to purchase a quantity of goods and services in a given period of time. So, consumer demand is the willingness of the individual, groups, or organization to purchase different quantities of a good at different prices. Power of purchasing can be shown by consumers' current income or disposal savings, but is related to the goods at different price levels. When purchasing, the consumer can choose the goods and services. It is called consumer choice. In reflection, people make choices in daily life by looking at what consumers can afford. It can be shown in the budget constraints and total utility or satisfaction from those choices. To measure their own utility, it is called consumer utility. In economics, it can be used to describe the consumer satisfaction or happiness in every person that consumes the products or services. It is measured in util, while utility maximization is often used by companies or individuals that needs a strategic plan or scheme to gain satisfaction in the highest level in economic decision.
Hi Doctor, I hope you have an amazing day today. I will continue to present my part, which is finding and discussion. I am going to talk about respondent background from our survey. Before that, let me explain our survey about consumer behavior based on the provided questionnaires. We are required to conduct an 18 survey based on the different ethnicity, age, and gender from our respondent. We collect our data by separating it in each group, then compare and analyze the percentage, the highest and the lowest, and also the majority from each question. From that, we already compiled all the 18 surveys of respondents from different ethnicity, age, and gender. We received a lot of various responses from our respondents about consumer behavior. As Doctor can see above of my slide, that is an example of questionnaires that the respondent need to complete it. From that, we can see and compare the differences of their thought for being the consumer to choose any goods based on their want. First and foremost, the number and percentage based on ethnicity. As you can see, it represents a pie chart and cluster column of a survey about consumer behavior by ethnicity. Ethnicity can be defined as the fact or state of belonging to a social group that has a common national or cultural tradition. For example, Malay, Indian, and Chinese. Based on the cluster column, the highest ethnicity is from Malay respondent, which is 9 respondent with 50%. Furthermore, the lowest ethnicity is from Indian respondent, which is 4 respondent with 22%. To summarize, the respondent based on the ethnicity is provide insights into why there are differences in consumer behavior between consumers in the same ethnic background. Besides that, this survey helped to clarify our understanding on how the same or different ethnicity would have different results of the survey and how ethnicity can influence the consumer behaviors. Second, the number and percentage based on age. As you can see, it represents a pie chart and cluster column of a survey about consumer behavior by age. Age is an important demographic factor that affects consumer behavior. For example, below 30 years old, 21 to 40 years old, 41 to 50 years old, and above 51 years old. According to the pie chart graph, the highest age of the respondent is below 30 years old, which is 50% with 9 respondents that participate to answer the questionnaires. Furthermore, 41 years old until 50 years old, which only one respondent, is the lowest age of the overall respondent, which is 5%. Many conclusions from the respondent based on the age is we know that age is an important demographic factor that affects consumer behavior. This is because as people grow, their needs are changed from time to time. Similar changes will appear in their buying decision on making patterns. Furthermore, age also brings changes to people's behavior where it will affect their needs and personal value in their life. Lastly is the number and percentage based on gender. As you can see, it represents a pie chart and cluster column of a survey about consumer behavior by gender. There are two types of gender, which are female and male. These two genders have different attitudes that affect their buying choices. Based on the pie chart, we can see that male respondents are the highest, 56%, with 10 responding to the survey. Besides, female respondents make up 44% with 8 respondents taking part in the survey. From the respondents, based on the gender, we know that males and females have different tastes on products due to their different upbringing and socialization, along with variety of factors like social and psychological. Besides, they also have various and different ways on how to obtain these goods to satisfy their needs. My reflection is I really enjoy learning about consumer behavior as it managed to change the lens through which I view the world. It helped me realize that every respondent have their own talk about consumer behavior. Being able to understand consumer behavior allows markets successfully connect with customer. That's all from you.
Hi doctor, I'm going to present about consumer behavior 1. First question, consumer prefer to purchase good or product depending on the brand. Most of the respondents agree with this statement. As consumers usually prefer to obtain high quality product at lower cost, this appears seems to meet consumer needs and resonate with them. This refers to a consumer preference for a good caused by advertising, fashion, imitating others, or the user's own experience of using the good in the past. Second question is, consumer glad to buy branded good despite the high price. For this statement, majority of respondents disagree. The consumer consider high-priced item to be of better quality and a sense of accomplishment, the reason why some buy luxury items. Customers tend to embrace brand that their peers prefer because they believe the brand is of high quality and general enough to meet the needs of the majority of consumers. Next question is, consumer will increase their purchase of goods if their income rises. Assumption of ceteris paribus. Majority of respondents strongly agree with this statement. This follows the law of demand which stated an increase in income will cause demand to rise.
Greetings doctor, my name is Danish Aiman bin Ahmad Rizal. Nombor matrix 287966 will present our next topic regarding to consumers will increase their purchasing if the price of good is low, assumption of ceteris paribus. As you can see the graph from the slide, both strongly agree and agree show the same result, which is 33.33% and it is the highest among others. The main reason is because by assuming ceteris paribus, the lower the price of a goods, the higher the demand for that goods. Other than that, by comparing for the lowest percentage, show is strongly disagree by the purchase is increased when the goods is low. It means that the consumer can save their budget from buying goods that have a high price while they have a low price. Next, I will present about consumer prefer to buy goods online rather than in person. As you can see the graph from the slide bar, for disagree, moderate, agree and strongly agree are all the same, which have 4 respondents each. The consumer prefers to buy goods online rather than in person because nowadays there are many facilities that make it easy for us to buy food without going to the store. For example, Foodpanda, Grab, Food and others. Other than that, it will reduce our energy and time to get the food. And for the lowest bar, show at the graph is only disagree and have 2 respondents only. For these 2 respondents, maybe they prefer have an experience when buying things physically, or maybe they had an issue when buying things online. Last but not least, why consumer thinks purchasing good online is more convenient and cost effective? Well, based on the slide and the graph, it shows that the highest is 6 respondents that strongly agree because when we go buy food face to face, it costs much more than order online. For instance, if we tend to buy face-to-face, there are a lot of miscellaneous expenses that we will spend such as oil, petrol, toll, tax and others. And for the lowest, it strongly disagree with 0 responding. It is because purchasing good online is actually more cost-effective and cost convenience. That's all from me, thank you. My reflection regarding the topic that I learned is there are a lot of ideas, assumptions and different type of thinking from many respondents, but it is rational way of thinking because different people has different opinions. They all have their personal reasons when making a decision. That's all from me, thank you.
Hi doctor, now I want to present about the consumer behavior 2. First statement is if the price of good A falls by 50%, I will purchase it. Assumption of ceteris paribus. Majority of the respondents are strongly agree and follow the law of demand that if the price of the good decrease will increase the demand of the good. Next, second statement is even if the price good A is high, I still purchase good A. Assumption of ceteris paribus. Based on the finding of our survey, majority of the respondents follow the theory of demand, predict that the price of good A is high, the demand of the good will decrease. But some respondents still agree with this statement. Statement 3 is if the price of good B rises by 50%, I will purchase good A. Assumption of ceteris paribus. Relationship between the good A and good B is substitute good. Thus, when the price of good B increase, the demand of the good A will increase. Most respondents agree with the statement and follow the theory of demand. Statement 4 is if my income increases by 50%, I will purchase good A. The theory of demand predicts that the income increase will increase the demand of the good. Based on the chart, majority of the respondents follow the prediction. Statement 5 is if my income increases by 50%, I will purchase both good A and B. Most of the respondents strongly agree and follow the prediction that when the income increases, the demand of the good A and B will increase. But some respondents strongly disagree. In my opinion, we know that the law of demand, but some consumers are not follow the law of demand. This means that the demand of the good depends on consumer behavior. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chong Siu Lee, and I'm going to conclude the finding of our survey. The consumer behavior survey that is carried out to be important in the study and analysis of consumer preference. From the findings, we found out that the survey do help our company to understand consumers' need and improve their product to suit the consumer demand and need. Consumer behavior differs between male and female, as more of the male consumers buy necessity on it, while most female consumers buy things that want. Age is also a factor that affects consumer behavior. For instance, youngsters tend to spend more on fashionable items and dining out as their lifestyle is active, while elderly people spend less money on items as they spend more of their time staying at home with their partner. According to our findings in consumer behavior 1, the majority of the consumers prefer products depending on their brand. This is due to the fact that consumers prefer brands give them satisfaction, trust from previous experience, which make them keep going back to the same brand. Apart from that, income of consumer also affect consumers' behavior, which I will talk about it later. Moving on to the next point, relationships of consumer and seller are based on the willingness of customer to purchase a product from the seller. This proves that the market is supported by the demand of customer, which cause the productions of goods to occur, which generate revenue and profit to the company. Next, referring to consumer behavior 2, more than half of the consumer prefer McDonald's fried chicken than KFC fried chicken, as consumers disagree on the fact that they will buy McDonald's fried chicken even though the price increased by 15%, which is not rational to do so in this case. This is because consumers tend to choose product that is sold at lower price. They would have the same experience and satisfactions with also the price of cheaper product. Lastly, income of the consumer also affect their consumer behavior. We know that through the agreement of consumers that they will buy McDonald's fried chicken and even both of them when their income increased by 15%, as they have the spending power when their budget increase. Consumers can buy more product of their choice without worrying about tight budget, and also they are less elastic toward high price of product as it does not affect them very much. All in all, consumer behavior are an important asset for companies to study about consumers' preference and improvement of their product to suit the demand of consumers so that they can stay competing in the market and gain profit from it. So I'm going to do a reflection on our good performance when we are doing the assignment. First of all, the lack of teamwork and attentiveness among them. They did not respond to message nor give opinion although I have asked in our WhatsApp group. Apart from that, they finish their task for the sake of completing it as soon as possible without giving their best. For example, the bar chart and the pie charts were just basic chart without putting in any effort. When we suggest correction in their part, they did not even bother to check on them and correct it until we have reminded them several times. There are also times where we corrected it because they did not care about it. Apart from that, one of the members did not hand in their draft although we have reminded them of the internal due date, so this made our work not systematic. Lastly, the member was selfish as they did their work and did not even care about checking our other members' work, whether are there any mistake like they are doing the assignment on their own. So these are the reflection I got from our work when doing the assignment. That's it all from me. Thank you.